So yeah, you're 100% right that it's really just kind of starting with the bare minimum with your, kind of your first principles, and then figuring out and tweaking using something great like ChatGPT to do that. And then building out that roadmap for each and every practice in each and every market. And so you have, this formula and roadmap to success. And for this, success is an 80%, show rate.
But as everybody else learns how to do it and everybody else gets better and better at using AI, it's really going to make a huge impact on reducing your labor, increasing your results, and just really creating a better patient journey overall. Welcome to another episode of the Full Arch Advantage. I'm your host, Gary Bird. I'm the founder of SMC National, where we help you create, convert, and close more full arch cases. And today I have a special guest. It's Jack. He is the director of marketing at SMC National. And today we're going to discuss something that I think is going to hit at the front door of every single office. And it's around how to use AI to reduce your no-show specifically. We actually have two things. So we're going to tell you about two companies. One is ChatGPT and the other is Tavius. And these are two softwares that we're currently using to reduce no-show at the offices that we work with. And today, Jack is going to walk us through that. So Jack, thanks so much for coming on. And let's just jump right into it. How did you use ChatGPT to help reduce no-shows?
Yeah, so there are a billion different things that an office can do, and that anyone, when it comes to marketing for, sales and marketing, that comes to like setting an appointment and getting that patient or that customer to show to that appointment, right? And just outside of like normally what's known in the dental industry, right? So there is, because if you think about it, there is, a bunch of different industries that this applies to. And so using that approach, if you can get into ChatGPT and come up with some prompts to help you use not just dental specific or healthcare specific, but just kind of industry standard knowledge that it has about reducing no-show rates, increasing show rates for appointments, it can give you a ton of stuff and stuff that seems small, but when you really start to stack it and add all of these things to your marketing funnel or your sales or conversion process when it comes to full arch or implant marketing, it can really, really help because every market is different. And what you'll find is...
Sorry to disrupt the show, but I got something crazy to share with you. We are attempting to connect with all of our listeners. We have thousands of people that listen to this podcast, and we want to meet you in person. We have 4 events coming up, and I want to give you a discount code that you can use for the next week to save $300 off your ticket. The discount code is Gary Bird, and the link is going to be just down below. You can also go to smcnational.com/events. I hope to connect with you in person and help each other grow our businesses. Can't wait to see you soon.
Find is if you kind of build this checklist out, and the great part is you don't have to sit there, kind of come up with what you've done before, trial, error, and just come up with on the fly. You can get this pre-built list from something like a ChatGPT. It's kind of incredible what that can do to kind of help increase your show rate and therefore, your patients to the door. And the end goal is to be able to help more new patients, get life-changing oral treatment. So that's some of the things we've done, and just some of the examples that it's done. We can talk about what those prompts are, but it gets into some of the prompts that I did was it gets into the lead generation, what you can do at the lead generation level. So your targeting, your marketing, right? What you can do on the scheduling process, what you can do on your pre-consultation engagement, your confirmation process. And then you can even ask it, well, what are some of the areas that often get overlooked when in the process that you just did? What are the areas that I'm not thinking about that you didn't mention? And it goes even deeper. And then you do all that, you have that conversation, you get this really detailed list that you can start, okay, hey, my show rate right now is 30%, 40%. I'm going to start going through this list, checking off things one at a time, 2 at a time, and going through it until I figure out what works.
So tell me a little bit about these prompts, because it sounds like, so naturally what I would do if I went to ChatGPT is how to reduce my no-show rate at my dental office. Yeah. But it doesn't sound like you actually did that. What you did is you started at the top of the funnel and said, how do I improve our marketing at the top of the funnel? And then was it just that simple? Like, how do I improve my digital marketing for my dental office? Or what did you...
Yeah, great question. So here's an example of one of the prompts I did. It's I'm working with offices and I'm trying to, I give it the background, right? So not get into that. I give the background of the offices I'm working with, right? So I went very detailed. These offices are, and I did it for different offices. I got very specific. So this is an office that normally sees hygiene patients, right? And gave it all that background, but now they want to start seeing these implant patients. They may be doing everything else. One of the prompts I gave, it says, hey, this office, does everything else right when it comes to creating leads and getting them scheduled, but they still have, scheduled consults no show at a very high rate. I would like talking to ChatGPT, I would like for you to go in depth into different ways that they can get 80%. So I gave it a metric, 80% plus of their scheduled consults to show, give different ideas about every step of the funnel from lead generation all the way down to the confirmation process, and about what, the offices could do to get them to show up, list common and will establish best practices, but also name overlooked areas or areas that aren't commonly addressed when it comes to getting patients to show. So you want the stuff that like, hey, maybe we're not doing the best practices and that's why we're failing. So, if an office does that, they'll be like, hey, it says to text your patients before they show up through the door. And we're not doing that. We probably should start doing that. Yeah. Or if you're a really advanced office that does all of that, it's like, okay, what are we missing? And so it gave a very expansive, I think, probably 30, 40 different options here as far as what an office could do to help get their patients to show up for their scheduled appointments.
Yeah. And I think the thing that people miss two things. So number one, it's the small things that matter, right? So it's all these little things, but the little things add up if you're not doing them. But then the second thing is not all offices and markets are created equal. Some are going to be way more tech savvy and they want online schedule and they want a text message and they don't even want to talk to a person. And then other markets, they're not doing none of that. Like they want to call and talk to the person and that's it. And that varies market by market. Even I've seen, Jack, and maybe you've seen it too. I've even seen in like opposite sides of the city where one thing works over here, but it doesn't work over here because you're dealing with different you might be dealing with the retirees over here, and over on the other side, they're still working. And so it's a different bag of people that you're dealing with. So you're going to approach them differently.
Exactly. Yeah. I think with what we've found in working with so many practices and doing this is that when it comes to specifically reducing your no-show rate or getting a very high show rate, it is not a one-size-fits-all approach. There are best practices that like, okay, common sense, you have to do this, right? You have to have a confirmation process, right? You have to do these certain things, have this scripting, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to like expanding markets and the specific formula that it takes to get that 80%, 70 to 80% show rate for your consults, it is vastly different for offices. Some offices, like you said, you can do the bare minimum, just like, hey, these are the standard best practices. They're really easy to implement. Boom, it works. Not a lot of competition. For whatever reason, that market is more trusting. And then you get into saturated markets that are super competitive, and you have to do all these things that are on top of kind of those best practices or subtly tweak your best practices or your scripting, and it goes a really, really long way. So yeah, you're 100% right that it's really just kind of starting with the bare minimum with your, kind of your first principles, and then figuring out and tweaking using something great like ChatGPT to do that. And then building out that roadmap for each and every practice in each and every market. And so you have, this formula and roadmap to success. And for this, success is an 80%, show rate.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is so good. I love the way you approached that and broke that down. Would you be willing to share that prompt with me and I could share it with the audience if they want to? Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's do this. So if you DM me, Instagram's probably the best place to DM me, or you leave a comment on wherever you're watching this video. I will get that and I will send that to you. So I'll send it to you in a doc so you can just load up that prompt so you don't have to go through and learn all the different prompts and things to get the outcome that you want. All right, so let's talk about Tavius a little bit. And I've actually played with this one as well. And I know you have, Jack. So why don't you just explain to, first of all, the audience what Tavius is, what they do, and kind of the cost associated with it. And then we'll kind of dive into how to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Tavius is a personalized video generating platform, but it uses AI to take a singular video of you that you record as, in this case, maybe a practice, a practice owner, a doctor, or a treatment coordinator. You record that video. You act like you're talking to the patient. And what it does is it uses AI to learn your voice, learn your facial expressions, and swap that out so that each and every video you send to a patient, it can personalize it with their name, maybe their appointment date and time, the specific consultation that they're having. And what this does and what the platform says it does, it increases your, you can boost your conversions, your treatment acceptance rate by, a large, massive percentage, because it's including personalization. I think one thing that so happens is in our day and age is everything becomes, stock or rinse and repeat, and it takes out the personal effect. Right. And so automation was one of the big things, like, hey, we got to be super automated, right? We got to have stuff that's super standardized because other people aren't doing that. And that's great. But now when you get to a place where everybody's doing that, it's super easy. There's tons of platforms out there. Most PMSs integrate with some sort of automated reminder feed, right? Where they can get those automated messages. So now it's like standard that when I sign up and, schedule a consultation, I'm going to get text reminding me all of that. It's going to be a pretty easy experience. But to set your practice above the rest, especially in a very competitive marketing landscape like it is for implants and full arch marketing, one thing that you can do to set your practice apart is personalization. But it's personalization at scale, because you, as a doctor, a treating doctor, or a treatment coordinator, you do not have the time to sit down and schedule a personalized video for each and every patient that scheduled a consultation before they come into your office. Right. I mean, those videos, if let's say you're a natural, right, they're going to take you, 1 to 3 minutes. You're going to have to get the office quiet. It's going to have to be, get your lighting on, everything.
That's if you're good. That's if you're good. That's if you're really good. But let's be honest, most of the doctors that we're dealing with are not trained on video. They're not just going to pop in and have a studio set up. So it's going to be a 20-minute, 30-minute process of redo. And it doesn't make sense from a scalability standpoint.
Yeah, and also you have a small window to record that video to get it to the patient, right? Maybe you're scheduling patients like you should within a couple of days. You got to find 30 minutes for each and every patient every couple of days to do that, and it just gets too hard. So we use a platform like Tavis, and all you do is, like I said, you record that kind of base plate video and audio of yourself, then record your campaign video. You slap in some variables, and you get that set up so that every single time a patient schedules a consultation with your office, they're getting a link to that video, introducing yourself as the doctor, like, hey, super excited, thanks for scheduling your consultation. And what that does, it has a very serious effect on a couple of things. First and foremost, when it comes to scheduling patients for something like this, one of the big steps that we do for our practices is, and just in our confirmation process, is you want to reinforce the decision. So these patients have been putting this off for a long time, and they're scared to take the next step. And they just did a huge milestone by scheduling a consultation. And so what you want to do to help nurture them and get them through the door is you want to reinforce that decision. Well, nothing better than, an hour, 2 hours after they schedule their consultation, getting a video from the doctor, letting them know, introducing himself, letting them know that they made a great decision, that they're super excited, we're going to take care of you, and we're going to be this together, and it's all personalized.
Yeah, I love that. So let me just frame this for everybody, because I've actually played with this. So imagine, you sit down, you maybe spend 20 minutes, you film one video, and then AI is going to go in and replace variables based on the patient. So the patient's getting a personalized video that was made for them. So it's going to say, hey, this is Dr. Gary, Jack, thanks so much for considering us, and we're excited to meet with you. Here's the things you want to keep in mind. And so you film it once, but then you can use it for all patients. And we're only using this in marketing, but where I think this is going to go, Jack, and I would love your thoughts on this, is great for patient confirmation. It's also great for post-treatment, right? So you have to send out an email and say, hey, make sure you do these things. You can use videos in there now, and you can just film one video, again, make it just a standard one, and then send it out, and it will address each person by name. And the AI actually changes your lips and changes your name on the video, so everybody's getting that personalized video. You can do this for missed hygiene appointments. You can do this for, anything that I know we're talking about full arch today, but anything in a dental practice, you can use this for, and it's just starting to get good enough to actually use, but it's going to get better and better and easier to use.
100%. We're just using, like you said, scratching the surface on how we can use it for confirmation, but this is also for unscheduled treatment reminders. You have 50 patients that walked through your offices over the last couple of months that didn't schedule treatment. Now you can send them, instead of a boring email or a boring text, you can send what they believe is to be is a personalized video reminding them of their specific treatment, their treatment plan, the costs, the options from the doctor. And all that doctor had to do was take 5-10 minutes to shoot that video and send it out to a bunch of patients. So we're scratching the surface, but it's incredible to see just the advancements of AI and how we can apply that to the dental field, and specifically for implant marketing and case acceptance. And the practices that hop on this first are going to be miles and miles ahead of their competition. Yeah. And the practices that neglect this are only going to get further and further behind, especially as AI rapidly advances over the next few years.
It's kind of like when internet marketing first came out in the dental world. I remember when that happened, so many dentists were hesitant to it. A lot of dentists wouldn't even get websites. And it was because it was like, oh, we don't need a website. We're a dental office. We're a medical professional, which made sense. Okay. I understand what you're saying. But then it became, okay, now I have to get a website or I have to have marketing. And so AI is the next thing that you don't have to do it. But as everybody else learns how to do it and everybody else gets better and better at using AI, it's really going to make a huge impact on reducing your labor, increasing your results, and just really creating a better patient journey overall.
Yeah, that's exactly what it does. It's not revolutionizing anything. It's from the sense of like adding these new things that weren't there before. It's just like you said, giving the patients a better experience, and experience. Not only does that lend itself to higher treatment acceptance, but in any type of dentistry you do, it's a better patient relationship. And they're going to be, they're going to refer their family and friends. They're going to be a lifelong patient. When there's a big treatment dollar amount discussed, they're going to have a lot more trust in you. And it's going to be easier to close that. So there's a lot of things here that are, that hopefully our audience can take from it, and that, hey, let's not be behind on these trends. These are only going to help us further, help more and more patients, give them the outcomes they're looking for.
Awesome. Well, this has been really good, Jack. I really appreciate you coming on, and make sure you guys DM me or leave a comment below, and we'll get you those prompts to be able to help you reduce your no-show with ChatGPT. Have a good day.